All right, Brendan, so these are those first couple swings after we sat there and talked about marketing and all that stuff. For a long time, you're kind of not loosened up there after we stood around and talked. So these were those little thin things that you were hitting with that 8-iron. And I got all three of them on record, but we didn't look at the first two because really they're all going to be about the same. So now this is the third swing, and this is one we actually started looking at more closely, Brendan. And from this angle, again, what we know is you're a little above the plane line on the downswing with the club head, and at impact, you're definitely more scrunched down than what we'd see with the vast majority of tour players nowadays at impact. And again, they would be on that plane line better on the downswing. And then from the face-on angle, again, we saw that at impact, again, you're kind of shorter and you're more ahead of the ball than what we'd see for the tour players. That was the main difference. But again, I want you to appreciate there are a million things you're doing that are very much like the tour players. You know, I want you to learn what you're doing right just as much, maybe even more so, than what you're doing wrong, quote unquote. So then when we looked at the driver, again, we saw a lot of good things going on there. But again, you're right. You're just a little bit above the plane line on the downswing. And at impact, you're definitely shorter, more scrunched down than when you started out compared to the tour players. Now they would tend to be more around the same posture. And then from that face-on angle with that driver, it really did look pretty wild there, the way the head's going away to your right, and those legs really are scrunching down quite a bit. But again, this is, see, that's a really strong look there, right, in terms of all that distance you're getting, right? The way your hips are starting to downswing while the club head's still going back. So that would create a lot of good stuff on the K-vest. And you're more behind the ball than you were with the iron. But you definitely don't see near as much movement in the upper body and lower body with the tour players. See how much more stable they are and on top of their legs instead of their legs going out from underneath them. And so the only little thing I wanted to give you there, buddy, was to get it on that plane line better on the downswing until I see you next. Just to give you some enjoyable ball flights and consistent ball flights where everything's kind of turning the same way instead of having some slices and some hooks for a couple weeks. All right. And that looked a lot better there, buddy. On the plane line very nicely. And then over here again on the plane line very nicely. And let the ball flight Category 3 be your instructor next week or two about whether or not you're getting it on there. All right? Stop there, man.
This is Joel Suggs. I sure enjoyed meeting you down at the Cincinnati Golf Show this weekend and showing you your swing on the 2D equipment that I have. And so I want to take about 2 or 3 minutes to just show you around Meadowlinks. This is the studio I use in the winter for all my students. You see there's the down-the-line camera angle for our 2D equipment. And then we have the face-on camera angle also. And then what we also have here is 3D equipment to where I can show you your swing from 6 different camera angles with this 3D equipment, and we can get your swing from down to the 1/120th of a second in terms of exactly what your hips, shoulders, and hands are doing in the swing. And then also, I have the most realistic hitting curve I've ever seen from puttersedge.com. So when you hit your full shots, it feels as realistic as possible. And then I have 3 different green speeds for you to practice your putting. 9.5 on the step meter, 10.5 on the step meter, and 12.5 on the step meter. That's benefited my students tremendously. And then also I have a lot of learning aids like this Smart Stick. You can see the rest of those learning aids over here in my bag that we can work on to help you learn the certain fields in your golf swing that you and I both want. And then also I help my students a lot with their equipment through the winter. This is a frequency analyzer where we twang your club and it gives us a reading here, and then also we plot your whole set, each club on these lines to see if the set is really matched or not. Quite often they aren't, and it helps my students tremendously when they find out what clubs are the offending clubs. Then if we get tired of being indoors and we want to go outdoors and hit some, we can do that. It's my daughter! Ellie, good to see you. I haven't seen her in weeks. No wonder you've been gone, Ellie. You've been out here playing in the snow all this time. But this is our natural turf area. This is closed until April, as you can see. But it's a fantastic area where we can step outside and hit some balls and get some real ball flight. Or, if we get pretty satisfied and think we're looking better on the video here, we're kind of cooped up inside and want to go outside, we can step on out and hit balls and see real ball flight for about 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, however long you and I can stand the cold, out into the air, and we see them land at these different flags. I have a yardage book for this driving range. It's the first one I've ever seen in my life, where we know exactly what it is for the front, back, and middle of each green. And again, the covered area here is heated, so we stay out there for about 5, 10, 15 minutes, like I said. It enables us to see some ball flight, and then we get satisfied with things are looking the way we want, and we can come back inside, take off our coat, and look again at the video equipment to see how everything's looking, to make sure that you understand it. And then notice too, my exercise ball up top here, and then also, so I help my students a lot with their fitness through the winter, and then I will help you also with your sports psychology, with your golf psychology from the golfpsych.com people down in Texas. That's helped my students tremendously a lot over the years too. So again, I sure enjoyed meeting you down at the Cincinnati Golf Show this weekend. I look forward to seeing you again out here this summer at Meadowlinks, or even right now in the winter. I have a lot of people that work on their games with me right through the winter. Check out more information about the things I do to help you at joelsuggs.com. Take care.